So we just saw that the archers will hate him. When Yahushua came, he came as the sword, because he would fight, he would preach right next to them. He would be right in front of the Pharisees. He would be in front of the multitudes. Like when you fight with a sword, you have to be close. But when you fight with an arch, with a bow, you can do it from far away. So you can just throw arrows to your enemy. So the first coming would be personal in Israel. The second coming, like Yonah, throughout the nations, using technology to be able to reach all the nations from afar, like when you use a bow to fight. So verse 1 and 2 of Revelation 6. Now I saw the Lamb open one of the seals. The first seal of the book of Revelation. The first seal starts the last 7 years. The first seal starts the ministry of the two witnesses, one of which is Moshe, the second coming of Messiah, the second coming of Yahweh on earth. So one of the things that people in Christianity use to say that this verse is talking about the Antichrist is because they don't understand the second coming. When they read, now I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, they say, well, the Lamb is up there, so how can it be the second coming? Like I explained, he first came as the Lamb. That's why he's up there opening the seals. Now he's coming as a lion. That's why the Lamb is up there. Now the lion will manifest on earth. Hope that's clear. The first is right next to the Father, at the right hand of the Father, and he will remain there eternally. The last will come to preach during the first 3.5 years of the last 7 years. That's why he starts the last 7 years. His ministry is the beginning of the last 7 years, because he will preach during the 3.5 years at the beginning of the last 7 years. So now I saw when the Lamb, Messiah, Yahushua, opened one of the seals of the book of life in heaven. And I heard one of the 4 living creatures. If we were to go back, when Yahuhanan mentions the 4 living creatures, the first living creature is the lion. That's why it says, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures. And I heard the first of the living creatures, the lion, saying with a voice like thunder, because he that is about to be manifested on earth by the announcement of the lion is the voice of Yahweh. And the voice of Yahweh manifests as thunder. So a voice like thunder. This is the only instance in which a seal, a rider of a horse during the 4 seals, this is the only time in which he is announced with a voice like thunder, because Yahweh himself will manifest, and therefore voice like thunder announces him, his manifestation. A lion, because it is the lion of Yahudah who will manifest by the will of the Lamb, who is in the heavens, right at the right of the Father. So, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures, the lion, saying with a voice like thunder, the voice of Yahweh, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a white horse. Horse represents war. White represents pureness, peace. So it is a war through peace. It is a war through words. It is a spiritual war. That's why it is a white horse. It is positive. White never represents anything evil. And some people say, yeah, but Satan appears as an angel of light. Yeah, when that is written, it says that it's Satan who appears as an angel of light. Here, it doesn't say that it's Satan. And when you read in Revelation 19, Messiah himself comes in the same white horse. So how can this be an evil one and the other one be a bad one? Makes no sense, because scripture doesn't contradict itself. And whatever one symbol represents here, it will represent here, there, and everywhere in scriptures. So, and behold, a white horse. That is the second coming. Yahushua came riding a donkey because he came to bring mercy, humble, forgiveness. The second comes in a horse because he comes to make war, judgment, the true doctrine, which those who are in the apostasy will take as false, as war, as an antichrist, as a thief. So it says, he who sat on it had a bow. He who sat on it had a bow. He who sat on it is the second coming of Yahweh on earth, the prophet like Moshe. He had a bow. So just like Messiah represents the sword, the last represents the bow, the arch. So The last represents the bow because he will be speaking from different places to all the nations. As when you throw arrows, he will be throwing teachings, doctrine, truth, judgment, etc. And a crown was given to him. And a crown was given to him because he will become king. He is the great prince, Michael, who Yahweh will raise up during the end times, as we see in Revelation Daniel, the book of Daniel 12:1. So that's why he's given a crown, because he is king. And a crown was given to him, and he went out overcoming and to overcome, because he is the overcomer who will receive the rod of iron, the star of the morning star, etc. Because he is conquering and to conquer. He will overcome completely. He is the overcomer mentioned by Messiah to each of the congregations. But the point here is he's conquering and to conquer. How can Christians preach that this is the Antichrist? If this were the Antichrist, that would mean that there is no hope, because he was going to win. He would conquer completely. He will never lose. He will never be overcome if that was the case. But it is talking about the second coming of Yahweh on earth. That's why he's coming conquering and to eventually conquer completely. When he dies and resurrects, it's done. His doctrine will be conquering. He dies, he conquered. And then that conquering will be manifested on earth during Revelation 19, in Armageddon and all of that. The point is, if he was Satan, we would be in trouble. Thankfully, it is not. Because he will overcome completely. He will conquer. And Satan will fall. We see in scriptures, all throughout scriptures, that Satan will be destroyed, will be killed, will fall, etc. He will not conquer. He will conquer the minds, the hearts of those who have been fooled, deceived. Yeah, those who are in the lie, those who do not love the truth. But those who do not love the truth are a lie themselves, because they are becoming one with the lie, and that which is a lie doesn't exist. Therefore, no point mentioning them. So we see that the weapon of the last is a bow. The weapon of the first, a sword. And he gives us that sword. So the last will also have a sword, like we just read. It will come out of his mouth. His words will be like a sword when he's close to people. But mostly his weapon is a bow. So he's like a person who goes to fight with a bow and with a sword. And that's why in Genesis 49, hopefully we'll finish it, says the archers, or those who fight with a bow, because he has a bow, because the son of Joseph will bring a bow, like a preacher, will send teachings. The false shepherds, the false teachers, will send arrows to him, trying to kill him, destroy his doctrine, destroy his image, his whatever. So it says, the archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him, and hated him, and hated him. When we read about the two witnesses in Revelation 11, about the two witnesses, we see that all those who live on earth will hate the two witnesses. When they finish their testimony, the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit will make war against them, overcome them, and kill them. And their dead bodies, that is obviously in the flesh, of course, and their dead bodies will be in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our sovereign was crucified. Then those from the peoples, tribes, tongues, and nations will see their dead bodies 3.5 days and not allow their bodies to be put into graves. Obviously, that won't be because they love them. That will be because they hate them so much that they want them to rot. They don't want to give them honor. And some others don't want what happened with Messiah to happen again, for their bodies to disappear all of a sudden, as they think that is what happened, that he just disappeared. Some of them don't believe that he actually resurrected. So verse 10 says, and those who dwell on the earth will rejoice over them, make merry and send gifts to one another, because these two prophets tormented those who dwell on the earth. Tormented those who dwell on the earth. So the witnesses will be hated by all in the world because of their testimony, because of what they will preach. People will hate them completely. As we saw, the shepherds, the pastors, the archers will hate the second coming, will hate the second manifestation. Shot at him and hated him, so they will kill him. Verse 24. But his bow, listen to this, but his bow remained in strength. The second coming, we just read, he is given a bow, and he comes out overcoming and to overcome, conquering and to conquer. But his bow remained in strength. So with his bow, he was able to conquer, overcoming until he overcame completely. So, but his bow remained in strength. And the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty Elohim of Jacob. Jacob represents the second coming. From there is the shepherd. From there is the shepherd. From whom? From where? The mighty one of Jacob. The shepherd. Second coming. The good shepherd. The stone of Israel. The stone which the builders rejected. So that which will give the strength to the last in order to overcome will be the first. Yahushua the Messiah. The rock, the stone of Israel, will give the strength to the last. The good shepherd. To fulfill the will of Yahweh in the end times. By the Elohim of your father who will help you. Meaning the last, the second coming. The Elohim of our father, Jacob, will help the second coming. By the Elohim of your father who will help you, and by the Almighty who will bless you with blessings of heaven above through Messiah Yahushua who is in heaven. Spiritual blessings will come to the last and therefore to the 144,000, the chosen few. With blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lies beneath, meaning that he will be given knowledge that is hidden, that nobody has received, revelations that nobody has ever thought of. He will be given knowledge of the enemy who is in the darkness, in the deep, in order to destroy the enemy. He will be given knowledge of the enemy. And that which the enemy holds until this moment, for which many worship him and ask for things from him, that Yahweh will give to the last, because he will take his place, the place as Elohim on this earth. So blessings of the deep that lies beneath, blessings of the breast and of the womb, meaning blessings of this earth, material blessings. So spiritual blessings, knowledge of darkness, and material blessings. The last will be blessed in every way, because through him all blessings will be manifested for those who have been expecting them. 26. The blessings of your father, Jacob, have excelled the blessings of my ancestors. Because Yahweh has mercy for thousands of generations, so he blesses more and more and more and more each generation. So our parents were blessed more than our grandparents, and we have been blessed more than our parents. And this is what he's saying here. The blessing of your father have excelled the blessings of my ancestors, up to the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. So the blessings will continue to pile over us eternally. Blessings of the blessings of your father have excelled the blessings of my ancestors, up to the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph as a crown. Like we saw, the last receives a crown, a bow, and goes conquering and to conquer. We see here, they shall be on the head of Joseph, because he's king, and the blessings will crown him. And on the crown of the head, and on the crown of the head of him who was separate from his brothers. Yahudah is not, this is not mentioned from Yahudah, because Yahudah, as Yahushua, came as a grain of wheat who died alone in order to give much fruit. In this case, the last comes from the midst of the few. He will arise in the middle of the sheep that the many have gathered, like we saw in the dream given to Joseph. So they shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him, Shiloh, who was separate from his brothers, whom Yahweh took in order to make him the overcomer.